The toilet water swirled pale blue as my life disappeared down the drain. "This is for your own good," Mom said, emptying the last vial of insulin into the bowl. "You've become dependent on man's medicine instead of God's healing." I watched 3 months of life-saving medication spiral away. $1,800 worth of insulin that insurance wouldn't replace early. My hands shook, but not from anger. From blood sugar that had been creeping higher since she'd hidden my morning dose. "Mom, I need that to live." "No, you need faith. We've been praying for 7 years, and you're still diabetic. That's because you haven't truly believed." She flushed again, ensuring every drop was gone. "Tonight, we prove God is bigger than your disease. My name is Hannah Morrison. I'm 22, and I've been type 1 diabetic since I was 15. In 7 years, I'd never missed a dose. Never forgotten to check my levels. Never played games with the disease that killed my grandfather before insulin was invented. Until my parents decided my survival was negotiable. Please, I begged, already feeling the familiar thirst that meant my blood sugar was climbing. Just let me get my emergency kit from my room. I threw that away too. Dad stood in the doorway, blocking my exit. Your mother's right. We've enabled your faithlessness long enough. Faithlessness? I go to church. I pray. I just also take medicine. If you really believed, you wouldn't need it. His voice was calm, reasonable, like he was explaining why I couldn't have dessert before dinner instead of why I couldn't have life-saving medication. Look at your Aunt Sharon. She prayed away her arthritis. Arthritis won't kill me. Diabetic ketoacidosis will. So dramatic, Dad sighed. You've been brainwashed by doctors who profit from keeping you sick. One night of real faith won't hurt you. He was wrong. It would hurt. Then it would kill me. I tried to push past him, but he grabbed my arm. We're doing this out of love, Hannah. Sit with us. Pray with us. Let God work. They dragged me to the living room, where church members were already gathering. Pastor Williams. The prayer circle. My parents' Bible study group. 20 people who thought they could pray away an autoimmune disease. Sister Hannah needs our faith tonight, Mom announced. The devil has convinced her she needs insulin more than she needs Jesus. Amen, they chorused. We're going to pray until she's healed. No one leaves until God moves. I sat in the center of their circle, head spinning, mouth dry. My phone was in my pocket, but Dad had already thought of that. He held out his hand, and I had no choice but to give it up. Hour 1. They prayed loudly, hands on my head, speaking in tongues. My blood sugar hit 300. I knew because I could feel it. The crushing thirst, the blurred vision, the need to pee that they wouldn't let me fulfill because interrupting prayer shows lack of faith. Hour 2. Pastor Williams anointed me with oil, declaring healing in Jesus' name. My blood sugar passed 400. Nausea rolled through me in waves. When I gagged, Mom proclaimed it was demons leaving my body. Hour 3. I vomited into the trash Dad reluctantly provided. They celebrated. Surely this was the sickness leaving me. My blood sugar was probably over 500 now. My breathing was getting shallow. Fruity. The smell of my body eating itself. I need a hospital, I whispered. You need faith, Mom insisted. We're so close. I can feel it. Hour 4. I couldn't sit up anymore. They laid me on the couch, still praying. Someone started singing hymns. My vision was going dark at the edges. This is how I die, I thought. Surrounded by people who love me so much they're killing me. That's when I remembered the bracelet. 6 months ago, after Mom had forgotten to refill my prescription during a faith test that landed me in the ER, I'd seen a lawyer. Jennifer Martinez specialized in medical advocacy and disability rights. She'd helped me set up protections I'd hoped never to use. Wear this always, she'd said, clasping the medical alert bracelet on my wrist. If they won't call 911, someone will see this. The bracelet listed my condition, my medications, and in small print. In case of emergency withholding of medication, contact J. Martinez, attorney at law, with her 24-hour number. I was fading when Mrs. Patterson from the prayer circle went to adjust my position and saw the bracelet. A retired nurse, she read it with growing alarm. This says she's diabetic. Type 1. Insulin dependent. Her voice cut through the prayers. When did she last have insulin? She doesn't need, Mom started. When? This morning, I managed to whisper. She flushed the rest. Mrs. Patterson's face went white. She pulled out her phone and dialed 911 over my parents' protests. 22-year-old type 1 diabetic in DKA. Parents withholding insulin for religious reasons. Patient semi-conscious, fruity breath, approximately 8 hours without medication. You're destroying our miracle. Mom screamed. I'm saving her life. The paramedics arrived in 6 minutes. 6 minutes of my parents trying to block the door, of Pastor Williams declaring this a test of faith, of me sliding further toward a coma I might not wake from. The lead paramedic, a woman named Grace, ironic, took one look at me and started barking orders. Blood sugar over 600. Starting 4. Get me insulin, stat. Don't you dare give her that poison. Mom lunged for the 4 bag. Grace stiff-armed her back. Ma'am, your daughter is dying. Back off, or I'll have you arrested. That's when they saw my bracelet. Medical alert says to call. Grace's partner squinted. An attorney? That's new. Call her, I whispered. Please. They did, right there in my living room. Jennifer answered on the second ring, despite it being nearly midnight. Hannah Morrison? Yes, I'm her advocate. Are her parents withholding medication? I need to speak to the lead paramedic. Grace took the phone, listened, nodded. Her face got harder with each word. When she hung up, she looked at my parents with disgust. Your daughter's attorney is meeting us at the hospital. She's also contacting the police. Withholding life-saving medication is attempted murder. We were saving her soul. Dad protested. You were killing her body, Grace shot back. And I'm documenting everything for the prosecution. They loaded me into the ambulance while my parents wailed about persecution and faithlessness. The last thing I heard before the doors closed was Pastor Williams saying this was all part of God's plan. If God's plan included DKA, he had a sick sense of humor. I spent 3 days in the ICU. 3 days of for insulin, fluids, and careful monitoring while my body remembered how to function. Jennifer sat by my bed with a stack of documentation and a recorder, taking my statement between blood draws. They've done this before, I told her. Smaller ways. Hiding my supplies. Making me late for doses to test my faith. This was just the first time they went all in. It'll be the last, she promised. The criminal case made headlines. Parents flush diabetic daughter's insulin, claim faith healing. The prosecutor charged them with attempted murder, reduced to reckless endangerment when they pled guilty. They got 2 years probation and mandatory education about type 1 diabetes. The church condemned the legal system for persecuting believers. Half the congregation sided with my parents. The other half, including Mrs. Patterson, testified about watching me dying while they prayed. I was a nurse for 30 years, she said at the sentencing. I've seen faith heal hearts and hopes, but I've never seen it produce insulin in a type 1 diabetic's pancreas. My parents were also ordered to pay restitution, the cost of my hospital stay, the destroyed insulin, and ongoing therapy to deal with nearly dying in my childhood living room. But the real victory came in the restraining order. They can't come within 100 feet of me. Can't contact me to pray for my soul or demand I forgive them. Can't withhold medication from anyone else in their care, which now includes my 16-year-old brother, who's showing early signs of diabetes. He lives with me now. We check blood sugars together, count carbs, and never, ever skip insulin. On Sundays, we go to a different church, one that believes God gave humans the wisdom to create medicine and the sense to use it. I still wear the bracelet. Jennifer had it updated. Type 1 diabetic. Insulin dependent. In case of medical emergency or withholding of medication, contact J. Martinez, attorney at law. Prosecution will be pursued. It's been a year since the night they tried to faith heal me to death. My A1C is perfect. My parents send letters through their pastor, begging forgiveness, claiming they acted out of love. Maybe they did love me, but they loved their idea of faith more than my life. Last week, a young woman approached me at the pharmacy. She was picking up insulin, hands shaking as she counted bills. I heard about your case, she said quietly. My parents think I should trust God instead of insulin too. I gave her Jennifer's card. Trust God if you want, but take your insulin first. He gave scientists the wisdom to discover it for a reason. She smiled, tucking the card away. My mom says needing medicine shows weak faith. Tell her dying from preventable disease shows weak sense. We laughed, dark humor bonding us in the way of people who've been told their survival is less important than someone else's theology. Because here's what my parents never understood. Faith isn't proven by denying reality. It's not measured in medical emergencies or demonstrated through dangerous neglect. Real faith is thanking God for the scientists who discovered insulin, for the doctors who know how to use it, For the paramedics who arrive when someone finally calls 911. Real faith is wearing a medical alert bracelet that says call my lawyer, because you know some people's love comes with lethal conditions. Real faith is surviving the night they tried to kill you with prayer and still believing in something bigger than their small, dangerous God. I believe in God. I also believe in insulin. And unlike my parents, I know which one keeps me alive long enough to have faith in anything at all.